Greetings, I'm Shad, and I'm going to be talking a bit about video games, role-playing games, specifically physical attributes or abilities. We all know what they are: strength, reflex, dexterity, intelligence, constitution, stamina, wisdom, knowledge. The list goes on and on. I do believe attribute statistics like this are very important because they reflect the qualities of the character you're playing. So, awesome. I'm not got anything against that. What I have against this is overcomplication and also pointless rules or pointless overcomplication. I say pointless because these attributes, these statistics, can be covered in as a comprehensive way or as a satisfying way that you can achieve the exact same things with the rules, the characters you want to represent, but by being simple, keeping it simple. You don't have to make such a huge list. In games, there are a lot of attributes. You'll see them: strength, reflex, dexterity, stamina, wisdom, intelligence, knowledge, all that stuff. They can overcomplicate things to me. There are three real core statistics, and outside of these three, everything is just an extension of them, and that's strength, reflex, intelligence. There's wisdom or knowledge, again, it's an extension of intelligence. Strength, well, there's stamina and constitution. You can summarize it into strength, and an example of where this has been done to excellent effect is the video game Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma begins with 3 character classes, each one based off an ability. Strength for warriors, fighters, whatever. Reflex for rogues, people who use either bows or daggers and things. And then you have the wizards or clerics who use the intelligence. And you don't lose anything. All the archetypal characters are still there from our favorite fantasies, and they're all based off those 3 attributes, those 3 abilities. Then, of course, the game goes a step further by having crossover classes, and so there's another 3 classes that are each of them a combination of 2 of those abilities. So strength and reflex, that's an assassin, and they're like, if you have intelligence and reflex, that's like a magic archer. Then you have intelligence and strength, that's like a paladin kind of character. And it works beautifully. You don't need to overcomplicate things. And even in combat, where they say only people with agility can use these weapons effectively, that's dumb. If someone has a lot of strength, they can throw that in there as well. But the trade-off is that, well, if you don't have strength, you can use reflex equally well with small weapons. So stupid! What? You think reflex isn't going to come into play when you're using medium weapons or large weapons? Of course it will. If you have high reflexes, you're going to get a bonus in combat anyway. And interestingly, the exact same thing applies for intelligence. Intelligence, if you're smart, if you can predict the opponent's moves, figure out how to counter them right, that's all intelligence-based, you're going to get a much greater advantage in combat through using, your own intelligence, your smarts, with any type of weapon, small, medium, or large. And so to me, it's a little silly that they say, oh, intelligence can't be applied to combat, and reflex can only be applied to small weapons, and strength, any weapon at all. It should be anyone. So I actually believe in the statistics of video games and role-playing games. You should get a bonus from each point or whatever you have in strength, reflex, or intelligence to combat to any type. For even, it applies for archery as much as it does for melee weapons. You've got greater strength, you can pull back a larger poundage of bow. And on that note, look at some of the English longbows. You need a massive amount of strength to pull those things back. Their poundage goes up to huge levels. Their back muscles would be incredible to get that draw on those bows. So yes, strength can apply very much so to archery, and oftentimes more so, depending what bow you're using. Intelligence can apply to archery as well, predicting where the person is going to go, trying to calculate wind pressure conditions and such. Well, what about magic? Can strength be used for magic? Well, it could. If you consider that the magic is coming from the person's physical strength, this is very much like where a lot of Eastern fantasies and traditions where they can do these phenomenal supernatural things through intense martial training. We've all seen Dragon Ball Z and stuff. Piccolo is creating clothes in episodes. He gives Gohan a set of his own clothes by doing this zappy thing from his ki. They're treating ki just like often we treat magic in Western fantasies. So yes, even strength could be applied to magic. And you could even say reflex as well. The training to become faster. Dodging things gives you the ability to draw out supernatural maneuvers or feats and things. They can be applied to really anyone. Then you can logically say, what are the point of ability scores if they're all essentially doing the same thing? What's the difference between giving my character reflex or strength or intelligence if I'm just going to get the same combat bonus out of them? The answer is, these abilities also would give another or different statistical bonus, such as strength, giving greater hit points or health or whatever. Reflex, you can apply to dodging and defense, and intelligence to skills or the amount you have, and so on and so forth. And so they would apply not only in combat, but I'm saying in a combative sense, when you look at abilities, any ability can be applied as a bonus to really any type of combat form, and I think it's a little bit silly to restrict it, especially reflex if you're saying you can't use reflexes or speed for a bonus to attack and damage when you're using larger weapons. That's silly. It's very, very silly. Weight of weapons would affect things, and you can apply negatives or bonuses based on weapons weight, and it does depend on how far or how complex you want to go in it, but you can achieve it by not being too overcomplicated. Very simple. I think myself and my brother have done a pretty good effort in trying to get a balance with the system that we're making or have made and play testing. It's tabletop time, links below if you want to check that out. Or at least you could use an example of a way that you can achieve what I'm talking about here, using physical-based statistics in a more logical way while also getting a unique specific bonus based on it. So there you go, that's my views, opinions, thoughts on ability score, attribute-based physical statistics, and why we don't need to be so complicated. We can achieve the exact same thing, get the exact same enjoyment, and get over a lot of confusion by just keeping things simple.